Welcome, brothers and sisters. Today we will discuss the rights of the husband in Islam. The rights of the husband over his wife are among the greatest rights. Indeed, his rights over her are greater than her rights over him, because Allah says, "And they, women, have rights over their husbands as regards living expenses, similar to those of their husbands over them, as regards obedience and respect to what is reasonable, but men have a degree of responsibility over them." Al-Jassas said, Allah tells us in this ayah that each of the spouses has rights over the other, and that the husband has one particular right over his wife which she does not have over him. Ibn al-Arayabi said, this text states that he has some preference over her with regard to rights and duties of marriage. These rights include the obligation of obedience. Allah has made the man a qawwam, protector and maintainer, of the woman by commanding, directing and taking care of her, just as guardians take care of their charges, by virtue of the physical and mental faculties that Allah has given only to men and the financial obligations that He has enjoined upon them. Allah says, men are the protectors and maintainers of women, because Allah has made one of them to excel the other, and because they spend, to support them, from their means. Making herself available to her husband. One of the rights that the husband has over his wife is that he should be able to enjoy her, physically. If he marries a woman and she is able to have intercourse, she is obliged to submit herself to him according to the contract, if he asks her. That is after he gives her the immediate mahr, and gives her some time, 2 or 3 days, if she asks for that, to sort herself out, because that is something that she needs, and because that is not too long and is customary. If a wife refuses to respond to her husband's request for intercourse, she has done something haram, and has committed a major sin, unless she has a valid shari excuse such as menses, obligatory fasting, sickness, etc. The Messenger of Allah said, when a man calls his wife to his bed and she refuses, and he went to sleep angry with her, the angels will curse her until morning. Not admitting anyone whom the husband dislikes. One of the rights that the husband has over his wife is that she should not permit anyone whom he dislikes to enter his house. The Messenger of Allah said, it is not permitted for a woman to fast when her husband is present without his permission, or to admit anyone into his house without his permission. And whatever she spends, in charity, of his wealth without his consent. The Prophet said, fear Allah concerning women. Verily you have taken them on the security of Allah, and intercourse with them has been made lawful unto you by words of Allah. You too have rights over them, and that they should not allow anyone to sit on your bed, i.e., not let them into the house, whom you do not like. But if they do that, you can chastise them but not severely. Their rights upon you are that you should provide them with food and clothing in a fitting manner. Not going out of the house except with the husband's permission. One of the rights of the husband over his wife is that she should not go out of the house except with his permission. The Shafa'is and Hanbalis said, she does not have the right to visit, even her sick father except with the permission of her husband, and he has the right to prevent her from doing that, because obedience to the husband is obligatory, and it is not permitted to neglect an obligatory action for something that is not obligatory. Discipline. The husband has the right to discipline his wife if she disobeys him in something good, not if she disobeys him in something sinful, because Allah has enjoined disciplining women by forsaking them in bed and by hitting them, when they do not obey. The Hanafis mentioned 4 situations in which a husband is permitted to discipline his wife by hitting her. These are not adorning herself when he wants her to, not responding when he calls her to bed and she is tahara, pure, that is, not menstruating, not praying, and going out of the house without his permission. The evidence that it is permissible to discipline one's wife includes the ayahs. As to those women on whose part you see ill conduct, admonish them, first, next, refuse to share their beds, and last, beat them, lightly, if it is useful. You should command them to obey Allah and forbid them to disobey Allah. You should be in charge of them in accordance with the command of Allah and instruct them to follow the commands of Allah and help them to do so. If you see any act of disobedience towards Allah, then stop them from doing it and rebuke them for that. The wife serving her husband and submitting herself to him. Once the conditions of the marriage contract have been fulfilled and it is valid, then the woman is obliged to submit herself to her husband and allow him to enjoy her, physically, because once the contract is completed, he is allowed in return to enjoy her, and the wife is entitled to the compensation which is the mahr. The wife should treat her husband in a good manner. Because Allah says, and they, women, have rights over their husbands as regards living expenses, similar to those of their husbands, over them, as regards obedience and respect, to what is reasonable. Ibn Abbas said that this means, they have the right to good companionship and kind and reasonable treatment from their husbands just as they are obliged to obey the commands of their husbands. Ibn Zayd said, you should fear Allah concerning them just as they should fear Allah concerning you. The meanings are similar, and the ayah includes all of that in the rights and duties of marriage. And Allah knows the best.